Hello, this is Redhead Takes. We're back again with another tier maker list. I have not won one of these in an age, but we are getting close to draft time, so I figured we should do a ranking of all the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And then I'll probably do one for running backs and then one for wide receivers as well. So way too early, way too early. Wanted to give it a list before the new draftees came in, the Shadur Sanders and the Cam Wards and the Jackson Darts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and let's get to it. As always, we have our grading system S, A, B, C, D, F. You can figure out where each of these grades go, but let's start off with number one and probably the number one quarterback in the league, Josh Allen. We will put him obviously up at S, or maybe one other person will be above him. But of course, we all know what Josh Allen did last year. MVP of the league, only 6 interceptions, over 30 touchdowns overall, huge passing game as well, able to run and play at all the plays, and he looks great doing it, as I know he failed to get the first down against the Chiefs, but we all know that the NFL put their finger on the scale there, and that the Bills should have been the real team to play the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but we're not going to labor that here. But Josh Allen is clearly top 3 quarterbacks in the league, at least top 2, but there's no argument here. He's right where he belongs for a reason. He's a great quarterback. He's made so many strides since his rookie year, and anybody that's otherwise is just lying to you, because he truly is the heir apparent to Brett Favre and a couple other quarterbacks as well. He is the modern day Brett Favre, and even better yet, he cut down on his interceptions last year, so maybe not so much Brett Favre this year in the bad ways, but more so in the really good ways, being able to bomb it down the field, being able to take a hit, being able to, or getting yards on his legs. He can do it all, and he is rightfully up there where he belongs. I know this is probably an older list, so Jacoby Brissett, yeah, early last year, I remember when he was supposed to start for the Patriots early on, and he did, but then was quickly overtaken by Drake May, because Drake May is a far better, superior quarterback, and the Patriots finally realized that. It, in theory, it's great to bring along your quarterback slowly, but when your rookie quarterback is the best quarterback on the team, there's really no reason why someone else should be starting in front of him. You play your best players, they learn on the job, they get better, and that's why Drake May is going to be really higher on this list than it was last year. But Jacoby Brissett, I don't even know if he's going to be where he is right now, or what team he's on, if he's still on the Patriots or somewhere else, but I would reckon if he is starting for your team this year, that your team is down quarterbacks and you're probably going to not win anything. So he can give you some plays here and there, maybe a couple games here and there, but any more and you're really up a creek if he's starting for more than like 2-3 games a season. Yeah, it's just, he's not terrible, but he's not a great option either. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. Right in S. He belongs there because he had a fantastic year last year. Now, thankfully, the Bengals decided to open up their coin purses and give both Jamar Chase and T Higgins huge drafts or huge contracts. Now, unfortunately, as a result of that, they are very limited on the players that they can, or on the money they can spend for the next several years, because their money's tied up in Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T Higgins, and who knows what's going to happen with Trey Hendrickson on the defense, because it seems very likely that they're probably not going to pay him. They're probably going to trade him for somebody on draft day, and their defense is really going to suffer. I mean, because look at what their defense was last year, even with Trey Hendrickson. Not great, bottom half of the league in just about everything. But Joe Burrow had a MVP caliber season despite that. And if his team had made the playoffs, maybe he would have been more likely to win the MVP, because he had almost 5,000 yards, over 40 touchdowns, and less than 10 interceptions. He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic out there. But unfortunately, because his team doesn't value defensive efficiency, his team lost again, missed on the playoffs. Although, to be honest, even if they had made the playoffs, they probably would have gotten boat race in the first round. Still, based on how they played in the year, probably would have been a better fit than the fucking Steelers. So, Joe Burrow is clearly a top 5 quarterback in the league. Derek Carr, Derek Carr. As a Saints fan, watching Derek Carr out there is just I'll put him up in I'll put him up in a C. He's not great. He's very middle of the road. He's just not impressive. I mean, I don't know what's happened to Derek Carr again. If as a Saints fan, I wish the Saints would just break it all down, start afresh. They just need a new start. I mean, they're not going to get anywhere until they fix their cap issues, which is just not going to happen until they start dropping salaries left and right and start building from anew. Because it's very clear, although they have players on defense, it doesn't matter. Your offense is not very efficient, not very consistent. Your best receiver, Chris Olave, seems to get hurt all the time. Alvin Kamara is still great, and you still have a decent offensive line. But again, Derek Carr isn't going to win you anything. He's just not. He's just not that kind of quarterback. And to see him continually be brought out there just kind of makes my heart hurt because Saints just need to move on. Need to be bad for a couple of years and then start anew. But who knows? Maybe the rumors of them trying to go after Shedeur Sanders could be true. But again, their fortunes will not change for the better until they drop salary and start over. But we all know they are not going to do that. So here's where we're at. Next, Kirk Cousins. We'll put him in the C tier. Again, based on how he played last year, he was not great by any stretch of the imagination. He was probably still injured. It seemed likely that he was very still injured. 9 interceptions in 4 games, not great. And he'll still be with the Falcons. And again, if he's another quarterback, if he is your starting quarterback, we know what he has done in the past. He can get you wins. He can be an above average quarterback for sure. But as he gets older, it seems he is losing that skill a little bit more each year. And that means if he is starting for the Falcons for long portions of the year, it means Michael Penix has either not worked out or has suffered a terrible injury. Because by all accounts, Michael Penix will be the starting quarterback this year. But I've stated before, I don't think Michael Penix is going to be very good in the NFL. Don't think he's going to be very good. Maybe middle of the road quarterback at best. But again, people keep saying that the Falcons are just one quarterback away from being good. They're not, though. They're the Falcons. They always find a way to fuck it up. Next, Andy Dalton. Again, Andy Dalton's not a bad quarterback. He's had very good moments in his career, but again, if he's starting on your team at all this year, or if he's starting for the Panthers, that means either again Bryce Young has regressed again, or he has gotten hurt. So while we're talking about that, we might as well talk about Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young, based on how he played at the end of the year, barring that Cowboys game where he threw like 4 interceptions, he can be good. He started to show some strides last year, and I think he'll only get better with the coaching staff around him, and as if they can continue to build better offense. I've already seen what Chuba Hubbard can do. He's a good running back. They just need to build up on the offensive line. Xavier Legette, he can be a real game changer for them. Just needs to be a little bit more consistent. They have a couple other guys as well. They have a nice young tight end as well. I think he can be a good quarterback in this league. We'll just need to see a little bit more from him, but I think if he plays anywhere like he did at the end of the year last year, and just continues to improve, he can be a threat in this league. I don't think he, by any means, he's going to lead a team to a Super Bowl kind of threat, but if he continues to improve and get better, I think playoffs could be in the Panthers' future in the next year or two. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. Next year, I think, would be a good time to. If the Panthers have a really good draft this year, next year could be the year where the Panthers really become a threat in the NFC South and the NFC overall. Next, Sam Darnold. We're gonna put him in the beat here. Sam Darnold. He is a good quarterback overall. Um, he had a really great year last year, MVP vibes all around. But I think in the end of the year is what concerns me most about Sam Darnold. He can get you to the playoffs, but he cannot win you the game. That performance that he had in against the Rams was really disgusting, really pathetic. I think it was absolutely terrible. And the thing is, yeah, he's going to Seattle, but Seattle just traded away DK. They just got rid of Tyler Lockett. Sure, they still have JSN, but JSN is more of a slot guy. They don't have that true number one option, and that's how Sam Darnold thrived last year. They had a number one option in Justin Jefferson. They had a really good second option in Jordan Addison. They had a good tight end in TJ Hawkinson. And where are those weapons in Seattle? Sure, you have Kenny Walker, but he's an injury concern. Their offensive line is slowly getting better, but again, I think in Seattle they're going to be lacking. And again, they're going to be in a decent division. Rams are probably going to take that division again. 49ers, who knows? We'll see. Actually, no. 49ers are going to be bad. They lost so many players this year, they're not going to rebound. Sorry. And maybe the Cardinals could be a sneaky threat if they continue to put things together. But it's going to be a tough division. I just don't. Seattle just very middle of the road, above average, maybe. And I think Sam Darnold could have a good year, but I think the interceptions are going to tick up again this year, unfortunately for him. And next we have Jaden Daniels, who just showed everybody up last year. He showed that he was the true number one quarterback in the league, and that Caleb Williams is an afterthought. I'm sorry. Jaden Daniels is clearly the better quarterback. I think he's clearly more better built to have a long lasting in the career than Caleb. And with the team that they're building in Washington and the cap space they have and the draft picks that they have, sure, they traded a bunch of them away, but they got some really nice pieces on that offensive line that's really going to help. They still have Brian Robinson Jr. at running back. They have Zach Ertz at tight end. And they have Scary Terry and Debo Samuel on opposite side. Ooh, boy, what a combination that will be. Jane Daniels could throw for over 4,000 yards this year. I think he'll probably at least have 35 to 40 touchdowns. Interceptions probably around 5 to 10. If I'm probably his rushing yards probably around 400 to 600, I would say this year. But I think he's going to be a true gem this year. MVP vibes for sure, and especially in that division. Sure, you're going up against the Eagles, but we've seen that the Commanders can beat the Eagles. They just weren't built for them in the playoffs. The Eagles just completely grinded them down. So I'm going to shock everybody. I'm going to put Jaden Daniels above Joe Burrow, simply because he has a better team around him. And although Burrow has his guys back in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, the Commanders have somewhat of a defense, and plus an easier division to win in. So, Commanders, I think, are going to be a real dark horse this year to potentially make a Super Bowl run, and sky's the limit for them. Sky's the limit for this kid. I was wrong. I was proven wrong. I remember last year saying that Jaden Daniels wouldn't be anything in this league, but he proved me wrong. Mea culpa, mea culpa. Jaden Daniels is him. He's the best young quarterback in the league. Sorry, Caleb Williams, but your team sucks because you play for the Bears. Next, Justin Fields. Oh boy, Justin Fields. You know, keep him there. Uh, Justin Fields. Oh boy, he's a C. He is a C. I know. He's got all the money. He's with the Jets, and he's got some receivers like Garrett Wilson. But Garrett Wilson had Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball, and he still didn't do well. I'm sorry, the Jets are terrible, and Justin Fields. Good thing he got his money because going to the Jets is going to blow up in his face big time. I know they have a new coach, but that defense was terrible last year. That offensive line was terrible last year. And I don't care if you have all these big names on the offensive line. It didn't show up, and you could kind of tell it kind of affected Aaron Rodgers a little bit. Aaron Rodgers still had a really good year, but Justin Fields ain't Aaron Rodgers. Justin Fields is still a run-first quarterback that doesn't stand in the pocket long enough when he can easily make a play, and I still think his arm is lacking. Justin Fields can be a decent quarterback in the Jets, but the Jets are the Jets. They're a constantly cursed franchise, and I just don't see anything good for them happening this year. Jets are still third best team. No, they're probably the fourth. I'm sorry, the Patriots, just based on the quarterback progeny, the Patriots are better than the Jets. Jets are probably in for a fourth place finish once again, and yeah, that's just how it is. Next, let's see. Speaking of New England Patriots progeny, yes, I think he can be a B type quarterback this year. Of course, the Patriots need to get more wide receivers. They absolutely need to get more wide receivers. They need a better option at running back. They need a better option at offensive line for sure. But I think now that the Patriots got their option at quarterback down, now they can really build that team up. And now that they got new coach, he's going to be great. The Patriots, I don't think are going to be a playoff team this year. I think they're still maybe a year or two away. But Mike Vrabel will coach this team up well. He'll show what a fucking disaster Sharon Mayo was last year. And he'll show that Vrabel always should have been the coach. Mike Vrabel took a year off. He should have been the coach, the head coaching option for the New England Patriots last year. And Drake May probably would have been a little bit further along the where he is now. But Drake May is going to be a good quarterback in this league for years to come. Hopefully the stuff about him being a diva aren't true, because we don't need another Tom Brady like diva in the Patriots locker room. The NFL doesn't need that. We already got through 20 years of hell with that. Let's not go back to that. But regardless, I think Drake May has the arm, has the smarts. He can be the next great option in New England. Next, Joe Flacco. Oh, wait, that's Jared Goff. Oh, might as well talk about Jared Goff. Jared Goff is clearly in the A category. He's not one of the top tier quarterbacks because, again, we saw what he did in the playoffs last year. He was absolutely awful. Those interceptions were just unacceptable. And the Lions went out like the Packers normally do, being the top team in the NFC, and then running into the buzzsaw that was the Washington Commanders. But Jared Goff still has plenty to show left in this league. Although, I've said this before, I think last year was the Lions' real shot at glory. I really do. It's not like the Lions are going to be good. They're going to be one of the top teams in the league. They'll probably finish first or second in the NFC. That's almost a given. But again, they had all the momentum last year. Yes, they were injured, but they were making strides. There's all these reports about all these players coming back. They get a bunch of players back for the division game in Detroit. Man, I remember driving through Michigan at the time, and everybody in the radio was like, "Oh, the Lions are here. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're gonna be good." They were planning for tickets for the NFC Championship game, and then what happens? They all fall apart. All fall apart as expected. The Lions are still going to be a great team, but I still think they're going to come up short. I think it's largely going to be because of Jared Goff. Next, Joe Flacco. The less we talk about him, the better. He's at the end of his career. Maybe he can be a decent backup, but again, if you're starting Joe Flacco at any point this year, your team is effed. Let's talk about some more bad quarterback. Mason Rudolph. I think Mason Rudolph can be a D-type quarterback, but again, he's a backup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know we're still waiting on confirmation on whether Aaron Rodgers is going to be with the Steelers or not be with the Steelers, but if the Steelers are running out Mason Rudolph week 1, they're probably still going to be in the middle of the week, but I mean, that's just what you expect from the Steelers these days. Middle of the road, mediocrity at its best. Next. Cooper Rush. If Cooper Rush is not a bad backup by any means, but he is a backup. He is not a starter, even though he had some moments with Dallas a couple years ago, leading them to a 5-1 start. You don't want to start him for any meaningful time. Next, we have Spencer Rattler, a disaster if I've ever seen. I remember he was touted going to the Saints. He could be the next option, and then we saw what he did on the field, and he's just inaccurate. His arm's not the best, and I mean, it's just, I'm not a Spencer Rattler guy. Again, as a Saints fan, watching him out there being a starter is just awful. Gardner Minshew, backup, nothing more. Again, if you're starting him for more than a few games every year, you're not doing well. O'Connell, again, I thought he could be something last year for the Raiders, but I think mainly because Antonio Pierce is such a bad coach. Yeah, the Raiders are just a disaster, and nothing as good will come of that. Daniel Jones, I think he's he's a D. Not great by any stretch of the imagination, but he could still beat out the starting quarterback for the Colts, which is just terrible. And let's talk about that other guy right now. Anthony Richardson, I think is bad. I think he's bad. He has all the physical tools, but again, it's a dark, shady mirror. That's all he is. He's a tease. He's a tease. He will never show what you think he's going to show. Every time you think he's going to take the next step, either get injured or just make some awful throws. I mean, his completion percentage last year in some of those games was just ridiculous. By all accounts, he should be a starting quarterback in the NFL because of those physical tools. But again, if you don't have it up here, it don't matter. Again, he took time off, and it's just like, come on, man, get out there and play the game. But he was just too tired, apparently, too tired. Yeah, and yes, I do think Daniel Jones will beat out Anthony Richardson for the #1 spot in Indy. Justin Herbert, I think he is an A. He's an A type quarterback. He has all the stats. He has the big arm. But again, he's on a team like the Chargers. And he looked absolutely awful in the playoff game. I thought the Chargers would have, first year in the playoffs with Jim Harbaugh. Man, they could go on a run. They could at least win one game, right? Right? No. No, and the thing is, Justin Herbert didn't start off too badly in the game, but once he threw that first interception, you just knew it was over. It was over. He's still a great quarterback, but he needs more option. He needs more help at receiver. I think he found his #1 option with Lad McConkey. I think he's going to be good for years to come, but they don't have a lot of options. At least not a lot of good options that you would like. Next, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is right. You're going to put him above Jaden. He's earned it. He has earned it. He has earned his spot here. He was truly great in the playoffs last year. He was truly great in the Super Bowl last year. All the talks about him just being a run first quarterback, he has shown he has had a beautiful arm. He has a great arm. He has great repertoire with his wide receivers, Devontae Smith and oh boy, oh boy, what's his name? I'm sorry, his other wide receiver's name. It'll come to me. I'm sorry, but the Eagles have great, great options all over the field. They have a great running back, and they just have a really good team, a good offensive line, a road grading offensive line. Man, they are fantastic. The Eagles dominated in the Super Bowl, and they clearly showed why they are the best team in one of the best teams in the NFL. Next. And next we have Lamar Jackson. Yes, AJ Brown is the quarterback um, of the Eagles. Sorry. Lamar Jackson, great again. Probably should have won the MVP last year, but we all know Josh Allen is the better option just because Josh Allen beat the Ravens in the playoffs. And yes and no, a lot of people are going to say, oh, the Bills just got all the calls. The Ravens were going to make a comeback. But again, Lamar Jackson dropped a fumble. Just clearly dropped to the ground, and he fumbled any chance his team had away. Sure, he played well in that final playoff game, and he was, by all accounts, the best quarterback last year. But in terms, again, most valuable quarterback is the guy that helps your team the most, the guy that makes the biggest impact in the team. But when you look at it, Josh Allen, without Josh Allen, the Bills are a top 10 draft type team. Without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are still a middle of the road, maybe even a playoff team. They're just that good. That's why Josh Allen is the MVP. Sorry, it's not just about best stats. It's about his biggest impact as well. But he is clearly number 3 on this list. But we'll still talk about number 1. I will still put Mahomes up here, even though he didn't have a great year. I just think he just has all the tools. He has the smarts. He still probably has the NFL on his side, but um, I know Jalen Hurts beat the King, but I still wouldn't put him and make him more valuable than either of these 3 quarterbacks. But I think Mahomes is still number 1. But maybe if Josh Allen is actually able to win a Super Bowl, which who knows if that'll ever happen, maybe, just maybe, he'll unseat Mahomes at some point. Next. Oh, Deshaun Watson. We'll put him right down here. We'll put him above. He's just an F. He's just lost it all. He's lost it all. He's lost all his skill. He's not going to do anything more in the NFL. Next. Will Levis, oh Will Levis, where are you? Again, we've seen he can play decently in the NFL, but he just hasn't since that first game of his rookie year. Just has not been consistent. Too many interceptions, and the mailman is a meme at this point. Trevor Lawrence, interesting case here. I think he's simply because his team has kind of lost some options at wide receiver. Still have Brian Thomas, but Lawrence needs to put it together. This is the year they need to show some improvement because the last 2 years have been absolute disgrace. That playoff or that collapse 2 years ago, that playoff run is now almost 3 years ago at this point. Trevor Lawrence needs to get back to where he was during his second and third year when they were going to the playoffs and they were beating the Chargers. They need to get back to that point, and I don't think they're anywhere near that point right now. Need some more options at wide receiver. Brian Thomas is a good start, but you need somebody else as well. We'll see what happens. Plus, he lost his trusty blanket in Evan Ingram, so that will hurt him. So we'll see if he'll be able to adjust. But right now, he's a C, but he can be so much more if he gets it together. Mac Jones. He's a D again. If he is starting for you, your season is probably over. It means Purdy probably got hurt and it's just not good for anybody if you're, especially if you're a 49ers fan. Next. I don't know who this guy is. The face doesn't look familiar at all. Um, Famous Jameis, decent backup quarterback. He can even be a starting caliber quarterback. But it seems with the Giants that Russell Wilson will get the starting position unless they go after one of those quarterbacks in the first round, which I don't know why you do. I mean, you just put in all this money into Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson to be potential 1A. So, I don't know why you wouldn't pick another quarterback at this point. I think the Giants should just wait till next year when the quarterback crop is really good again. But we shall see. We shall see what happens. But if Russell could get hurt, Jameis Winston could have some good moments with the Malik neighbors. But he could get you a couple wins. I don't think he's going to get you to the playoffs. So again, if he's your starting quarterback, your team probably isn't doing that well. But it's not like he's the worst option. You could do worse. You certainly could do worse than Jameis Winston. Gino. I think he's still a C. He's right up here. That will be nice. I'll be nice. I'll put him in a B tier because he still has some good moments, even though he's going to the Chargers. I mean, not the Chargers, the Raiders. He got a big contract. I don't know why. I don't know why the Raiders go above and beyond to give him a big contract, but maybe he can probably definitely get you some wins. And again, he's not a playoff winner type quarterback, but you know, you could do worse. CJ Stroud. He's in the lower end of the B tier because again, he did not have a good year last year. People started to figure out you can put a lot of pressure on him. You can rush him. You can push him into bad situations where he just airmails it up in the air, leading to interceptions. You can pressure him. That's what you have to do to get CJ Stroud because in the first year, he had way too much time to throw, and that's why he had over 4,000 yards. He was really good. He looked like the next best thing. But last year showed like, that's more what CJ Stroud really is. Again, he's not a failure. He's not a bust by any stretch of the imagination. But again, for poor CJ Stroud, the Texans traded away the rest two offensive linemen. So how are you going to replace that? I mean, there are options in the draft, but again, why trade long-term stability with Laramie Tunsil, who had his bad moments last year for sure, and Kenyon Green? Why give those guys away? Sure, you got a lot of draft picks as a result, but again, offensive lineman is not always the right away. They're gonna get it put together right away. So we shall see what happens with that. Michael Penix Jr. I think Michael Penix Jr. is in the C tier. Sure, he can be something, but like I said earlier in the video, I don't think he's going to really be anything in this league. He's really up there already. He's had a huge injury history, and again, he's getting traded he's with the Falcons. The Falcons are an eternal tease of a team. They always look like they put everything together, and then they don't. Like last year, it looked like they were easily going to make the playoffs, and they absolutely collapsed at the end of the year again. I know a large part of that had to do with Kirk Cousins not being healthy, but at the same time, it's like you should have gone to Michael Penix far sooner. It should have only taken like one or two really bad games for you to go back to him, not for as long as it took you. I mean, by the time Michael Penix was starting for you, you were basically out of the playoffs already. I mean, you still had chances to get in, but again, the Tampa Bay was the clear best option in the NFC South, so no good for him. JJ McCarthy is here. He's here because we haven't seen him in regular season action. I think he can definitely be something in this league. He still has Justin Jefferson. He still has Jordan Addison. He still has T.J. Hockenson. He still has Aaron Jones at running back. He still has a really good offensive line. He has all the pieces there. But again, I don't know why J.J. McCarthy rose so much. I know he had success in Michigan. I know it's a good game manager type quarterback. But is he a superstar? I don't think he's that. I think he can be really good because of the system that he's in. Kevin O'Connell is going to mold him into exactly what he wants. In the long term, the Vikings are still the Vikings, and they'll still find ways to screw it up like they do every year. Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was good right here. Again, he didn't have a really great year last year. No, the team really kind of fell apart on him at the end, but he did lose Aaron Becks on the offensive line. Trent Williams is probably close to retiring. Who knows what's going to happen with CMC? I'm sure CMC will still be playing this year, but that Achilles tendonitis is not a good injury to have. Um, he's top 20. He's a top 20 quarterback, but he'll need to see a little bit more before we can really get there. I don't. Someone can tell me who that is. I don't know who that is. Russell Wilson is a decent option there, but again, I think you saw what you're going to see from Russell Wilson. I mean, he's getting up there. He can still get you some wins, but in the long run, he just couldn't connect with George Pickens last year. And maybe it's for the best that he's going to be with the Giants with Malik Neighbors. I'd rather have Malik Neighbors as an option, my number one option at wide receiver over George Pickens any day. Dak. Put Dak right here. Dak is still. Let's maneuver around. Yeah, there we go. We'll put Dak right here. Dak is still a top 15 quarterback in this league. Still got CeeDee Lamb. He's still got other options. But again, he's never going to win you a Super Bowl. He just is not. Kyler Murray, good quarterback. Great wheels, great legs. He can get out there. He can get it outside the pocket. He can bomb it down the field. He has Marvin Harrison Jr. Hopefully that connection will, get a little better this year. But I think the Cardinals are building something here. They're gonna have a really good draft this year. I really do feel like they're like a year or two away from really competing, and they showed last year that they can compete. Who knows? Maybe they can be the dark horse in the NFC West. I would pick them as the dark horse in the NFC West this year, but only time will tell. Caleb Williams is still a C. He's a C right here. I know he had a good year by all stretch of the imagination. Only 6 interceptions, over 3,500 yards. But again, he is the ultimate end of the game merchant. He is built off fourth quarter garbage time stats. He just is. Like against the Lions last year. Sure, he looked really good, but the Lions had that game well in hand. And because of the incompetence of the coaching, they lost. They should have absolutely won that game, but of course, KO didn't help them any stretch to imagine. Again, he took a lot of those sacks last year. Not all those sacks last year they took were his fault, but a large portion of them were because of him holding on to the ball way too long and trying to play playground football, which just doesn't always work in the NFL. Just doesn't always work. Next, Tua is. We'll put him at the end of B. He's still a good quarterback, but again, the injuries are a real concern. Who knows what's going to happen with Tyreek? Jalen Waddle always seems to be injured. I think the Miami Dolphins are on the downslide. I really think their coach Mike McDaniel, if they do not make the playoffs this year, could be fired. And who knows what's going to happen after that. Still a good quarterback, but again, injuries are a major concern. Next. I'm going to put Baker up here at A. Baker's a really good quarterback. Actually, let's maneuver a little bit more around. We'll put Dak up here. We'll put Sam Darnold. We'll be nice and we'll put Sam. Still keep him in B, even though he had a good year. But Baker, still great. Still is Mike Evans. Still is Chris Godwin. Still has other options. And, I mean, Baker has found a real home in Tampa Bay. It's really good offensive. This team is really big offensive juggernauts. We got Bucky Irving, who let's see if he can replicate what he did at the end of last year. So we got Jalen McMillan, who is a really good slot option for them. Tampa Bay could win the NFC South for the 5th year in a row, I do believe, this year. I think that's a really good chance because Saints are winning it, Carolina isn't winning it, and Atlanta, we'll see if they can get things together, but I don't think they're quite there yet. But he's definitely up there, definitely in the top 10 for sure. Matthew Stafford, still good quarterback option for sure. Still have Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp is now with the Seahawks, but I think we'll see if they draft some kind of wide receiver in this draft because they do need another option. Puka is a good option, but I think he is an injury concern. So if you're looking for, I was thinking about keeping him this year for fantasy purposes, but I frankly think I would be better off keeping other players. I mean, especially after the whole saying he wants to retire at 30 thing. So it's like only 5 more years. But yeah, Matthew Stafford still got it. Lost some pieces on the offensive line, but Alaric Jackson is coming back, so that's good. Lost Jonah Jackson, but I think in the long run, I think that'll be a good thing because I don't think Jonah Jackson is going to do very well in Chicago, or just comparatively well, very middle of the road type offensive lineman. But again, I think he can still do things in the NFL. Next, Aaron Rodgers, we'll put him down here. Still has it. He's still. We'll see if he's um, going to the Steelers. I still think even if he goes to the Steelers, they're still going to be middle of the road because that's just what you expect from the Steelers at this point. Um, if he goes to the Steelers, he'll have DK. He'll still have George Pickens, but again, George Pickens I think is a giant fucking cancer. Um, Still has some left in the tank, but he's clearly lost a step since his days in Green Bay, where he was a 4-time MVP. Second, our penultimate pick, we have Bo Nix. Bo Nix definitely showed he can be a good quarterback in this league. He was really good at the end of the year. He cut down on some of his interceptions. Still has kind of an interception problem. He's still older than Stun. He's still like my age, but Bo Nix will still be a good quarterback for years to come, especially if the Denver Broncos continue to improve. Um, I think Denver is looking for a big draft this year. Um, Denver is probably the second best team in the AFC West behind the Chiefs and maybe behind the Chargers. I think them and the Chargers are really similar teams. Just Denver has a balls out great defense. I guess the Chargers do have a pretty good defense as well. Um, I think it'll take another year before Bo Nix to really thrive in this league, but last year he definitely proved a lot of doubters wrong. A lot of people said he was going to be the big bust, but I think he's a better option than Caleb. I'm sorry, he just is. He's just a better option. He showed more against better competition and didn't depend on fourth quarter statistics to really get his team home. Next, but and last but not least, we'll have Jordan Love. Jordan Love is at the top of the beach here. I know people are gonna laugh, but Jordan Love can still be something in this league. He was probably injured most of the year last year. Packers, I really do think this could be the year they draft a wide receiver in the first round. Although there aren't a lot of number one options in this draft, a lot of the wide receivers in this draft are or wide receiver twos, wide receiver threes, but at the very least, and big name impact wide receiver could really help the Packers. The Packers really need something like that because we've seen over the last couple of years that you can draft good wide receivers in the second, third, and fourth rounds. But if you want to get that big impact guy, you need to go to the first round. You need to spend a premium pick on a premium talent. And the premium talents for wide receiver are always going to be in the first round. It's never going to change. It never has. So get him that wide receiver. Get him that number one cornerback as well. Get him that edge rusher. If you fill those three positions, the Packers will be a threat for years to come. I still think it's probably a long shot for them to win the division because they're still going up against the Eagles I mean, still going up against the Lions, still going up against the Vikings. I know the Bears are there theoretically. People are going to say, oh, Packers are destined for a fourth place finish, but let's be real. The Bears are destined for the fourth place finish again. So, Packers have a good option in Jordan Love. I mean, they don't really have any options because they have to pay him because they owe him so much money, but in the long run, Jordan Love will be the number one option for the Packers for years to come, and the Packers could be a year or two away from another Vince Lombardi trophy. And those were our way too early NFL quarterback rankings. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Otherwise, have a great day, and as always, God bless and go, Pack, go.